Somewhere along the way, we began to believe that healing is a journey that we walk alone. Always something to process, always something waiting beyond the next breakthrough, the next version of ourselves. But nature does not evolve through force, it unfolds. Quietly, intelligently, according to a rhythm already held within it. And perhaps we are no different. Beneath the noise of identity, the body carries an ancient intelligence, a living memory, not merely of survival, but of coherence, of wholeness, of connection, of what we are before conditioning, performance, and separation took hold. The forests remember. The oceans remember. The spiraling geometry of life itself remembers. And maybe awakening was never about becoming something new. Maybe it is what naturally emerges when resistance softens, when the nervous system settles, when we're silent long enough to truly listen. Because the body processes everything, every experience, every emotion, and every moment left unresolved.
Sometimes when you're about to start something new, you need to get prepared. And that might involve dropping your nervous system into coherence to listen to the land so that you can resolve any patterns within you that may arise naturally and prevent you from fully tuning in with the divine intelligence that our world needs at this time. And Vancouver Island is a place with such majesty and a diversity of ecosystems that's very conducive to allowing this work to happen.
Yes, and I know this firsthand because I grew up there. I was born on the island, and Dave has spent time there in his teens and early 20s. So for both of us, it was like coming back into the area to close out cycles. One of the very first spots that we went to was Mira's Island, and it was like walking into a cathedral. And in that cathedral, you're just surrounded by 2,000-year-old old growth forest. And what happens naturally is it begins to slow you down, so much so that whatever you've been out running, these emotional patterns and trauma patterns, it begins to come up.
A lot of very deep-seated patterns around validation and performance in my behavior and the way I present myself. I was able to find those deeper currents within me, and they unraveled over the next week to come in a very beautiful but also kind of crunchy way at the time. And it was only in that environment that I could actually access the origin of that material. Mm-hmm. Now, from Mira's Island, we actually went a little bit further up north through some of the band land on a really cool boat voyage to the hot springs. Mm-hmm. And these hot springs are rich in sulfur. You can smell the sulfur as you're approaching them. And sulfur is associated in alchemy with purification. So this isn't just about nervous system unwinding. This is an emotional release that also pulls toxins from the body. It was much like a Japanese onsen or water ceremony, except now we're immersing in nature's waters that are providing this. And I believe we both left there feeling completely renewed in our bodies and our spirit.
Yeah, it has this deep purification. So anything that might have been like lingering within your body, it begins to purify that. And through the deeper levels of nervous system unwinding, you can go deeper into those parts of self that have been laying dormant for a long time. And being in Tofino is definitely one of those locations where there's these winds, they expose the truth and dissolve a lot of the noise that's going on in your field so you can hear even deeper within yourself. Which is why then we were guided after Tofino to move into an area called Avatar Grove, which is this really amazing and cool old growth forest. So when we walked into this area, we noticed that there was 3 trees that were specifically set up and situated in a triangle. And as we walked onto a fallen tree, we stood right in the middle of this triangle, and we realized that we were standing in the middle of a coherence triangle where our nervous system then began to reorganize itself.
Not only that, but the roots of these old growth trees that are thousands of years old are massive networks like mycelium networks. In addition to that, you have actual mycelium growing on the forest floor, and then you have other trees growing out of the decaying logs from fallen old growth. So you have this very complicated, rich network of plant life that mirrors our nervous system. So as we're standing there, the mirror neurons in us are picking up on that. And so our nervous system is then becoming encoded by what's happening underground. So from Avatar Grove, we left there in near silence to go to a hidden waterfall temple. This isn't one that's built up in any way. It just feels like a chapel because there's overhead moss everywhere and this waterfall is just pouring down. It's all green around you on this beautiful rock face. And this is on Sombrero Beach, so it's a little bit of a walk, a little bit of a pilgrimage to get to the temple. But once you're there, what do you feel, Amber?
So it is a bit of a journey. It's challenging yourself. And as you're challenging yourself through the walk of the beach, you get to this temple and you just feel this raw, primal frequency moving through from the waterfall, from the land, helping to bring up any of that suppressed anger and rage so you can express and access more of that passion, that authenticity, your creativity, and your natural instinct to follow what it is that you know is right for you.
Yeah, it's almost like after the purification of the first part of the trip, that beach allowed us to find our expression and our voice. And then the last location we went to was Iron Mine Bay, which is exposing, clearing, but it's also like a polisher because it kind of like is the final stage of the transformation. It's one of the most beautiful beaches I've ever visited in the Pacific Northwest. And it's really a place where you'll find truth and clarity as you lie there in deep contemplation. So in many ways, it seeded the next steps forward once that expression was found and once the noise had been removed. We're going to be offering solo and group voyages with us to Vancouver Island, amongst other places in the world. But since we have so much familiarity with the land and its energy and its signature there, plus we know a plethora of spots in addition to the ones that we've already shared, it just seems like a good fit.
It's a perfect fit. It's familiar and it is one of the most beautiful places in Canada. And we are very excited to be offering this because not only have we been doing this since we have known each other, this is something I've been doing for years as well, and David in his own way of working to heal with the land. And so we're looking to work with others, solo, one-to-one, or within a group setting as well.
Yeah, so without commitment, there's an intake form you can look at below that just asks a couple questions to see if we're a good fit for each other. If you want to come out on our next voyage, we're going to be doing one in June. And yeah, it's going to be a great opportunity to heal with the land and to also offer support for the land, because every time we go somewhere, we work to clear any distortion patterns that may exist in the land. So it becomes like a symbiotic relationship between the land giving to us and us giving back to the land as human beings.
Absolutely. So if you would like to join us, we would love to hear from you and to get to know you and see you on our next adventure.